If you've ever taken a CPR class, you may have worked on a lifelike mannequin. Well, just a head and a torso. You breathe into the mouth, the chest rises and falls. The sternum depresses when you do the chest compressions. That was likely Rescue Annie. She's been around a while. It was back in the late 1950s when a couple of doctors asked a Norwegian toy maker to come up with, well, a doll that would help teach people what were then newly developed life-saving techniques. The same company that started making Rescue Annie is still in business. And as Anne-Marie Berger shows us, it has taken that level of life and death realism well beyond your run-of-the-mill CPR class.
Is that the ketamine?
Yeah.
Okay, so just give 2 cc's of that, on 100 milligrams should be good. Okay, let that go, come up here. You're gonna put both hands on the neck like this. Okay.
These military medical personnel are working hard to stop the bleeding, clear airways, and keep these patients alive. Clearly, these aren't real live patients, but the actions of those tending to their wounds will determine if they survive their hypothetical trauma. Located at St. Louis University Hospital, this is the Center for Sustainment of Trauma and Readiness Skills, or CSTARS.
We bring in individuals, Guard and active duty military members, mainly in the Air Force, to give them 2 weeks hands-on patient care experience.
You got the 2?
Got the 2.
Deliberate practice, hands-on experience, and level 1 trauma is key in preparing these doctors, nurses, and medics for deployment.
It is very important because the majority of members of the medical community do not have any actual experience working with patients who have been critically injured or critically ill.
Air Force medics in the Guard in their civilian world may be police officers or even bank tellers, and active military medical personnel may have only worked in clinics. For many of them, working on these critically injured dummies is their first exposure to trauma. And these dummies, well, they're not so dumb.
So do their injuries mirror what they might see
Absolutely.
in a situation in
this
Afghanistan?
mannequin, as a matter of fact, he is a TBI, traumatic brain injury. Then we have a third country national child, okay, and he's a femur fracture. The soldier on the end, he is a burn blast patient.
These high-fidelity mannequins, the SimMan 3G, are manufactured by Lærdal, the Norwegian-based company who developed the rescue mannequins used for a typical CPR class. But the SimMan is much, much more advanced.
Sir, can you speak? Can you tell me your name? Check the pulses.
As Johnson explained, the SimMan 3G simulates actual trauma scenarios that these airmen could face in combat and have physiological attributes that may be monitored and treated. They have breathing, circulation, and cardiac features and vascular access. They have capabilities to bleed, blink their eyes, secrete fluids, and have seizures. Oxygen levels can be monitored. They can talk.
What? I can't breathe.
All while being closely monitored by machines and Air Force personnel.
As the patient is deteriorating, if they take the necessary measures to correct the abnormalities that the patient is having, we can make that patient improve if they take the necessary measures. If they don't, the patient's going to continue to deteriorate and the patient may expire like they did on this scenario.
He died 3 minutes ago.
We don't try to keep the patient alive to make them feel good. We can't do that.
Because that's not real.
That's not real. Patients die. That's just the way it is.
St. Louis University is one of 3 CSTARS locations in the country. The others are located in Baltimore and Cincinnati. And since 2003, more than 3,000 airmen have been trained at SLU's facility alone.
It's needed so much, especially as we get winding down from our areas of engagement. You're going to have more and more individuals with less experience of treating patients like this. So these programs, the ones we have here and Cincinnati and Baltimore, are so much more important to keep individuals spun up on the most current practice guidelines of treating trauma patients.